So this all started with this Twitter page, Florida Sea Watch, at Florida Sea Watch on Twitter, or X, I guess you now call it. And it all began with this sort of tweet, and it was very innocent until the person who was tweeting was kind of getting possessed to the point where some of the sentences, like a lot of what's going on here is like, it's very random, and who the hell tweets this random picture of nothing? And then it came up with this tweet, and then you go to this website that's in this tweet. It's very cool. It takes you to this website, and this is basically the Book of Bill website. This is not a website.com again, but it is important to note throughout this that the bottom says this is an unofficial fan project made for fun, not affiliated with any company, creator, divine creature, or entity. Now, of course, that means that this is not created by Alex Hirsch. This is not created by Cthulhu or Bill Cipher in any particular way. This is a fan-made project. And that has been confirmed. I've seen a lot of people in my comments saying maybe this isn't fan-made because this is definitely something that Alex Hirsch would do. And I agree to an extent. I don't think that Alex Hirsch would actually go out there and say this is a fan-made project and then it's actually not a fan-made project. You know, I think this would be a lot more, I guess, mainstream, right? I feel like I'm the only one who's actually making videos on this, which is insane, by the way, because this is packed full of information and ARG coolness. Because on this very website, you get this. It is a book that is literally 400 pages long, 450 pages long, and it's just packed with stories from Stanley and Stanford, from when they go out boating in the Arctic Ocean after gravity falls. And this is crazy, right? So we started reading through this last video, and if you aren't caught up, I will catch you up a little bit on what we actually spoke about. But today I aim to go through a lot of this book. Before we go into that though, there are two things that I really want to do that you guys suggested in the comments. So the first thing is that we found out last time that if you type in the name of this Twitter page, Florida Sea Watch, into this console, then you get a little secret. You click execute and you wait, and this comes up. Eye jump scare. Giant eyeball found on the beach, posing mystery for marine biologists. It's just a massive eye that was washed up upon the shore of the beach, and nobody knows what monster this is from. And we kind of said maybe it could be connected to Bill Cipher in some sort of way, or this jellyfish that we keep hearing about on this website. But what I didn't realize and didn't think about at the time, because I never really think about this sort of thing with ARGs, is that there is an email address here, lskipperflsw@gmail.com. So let's email. So here we go. I'm going to type in lskipper Florida Sea Watch SW@gmail.com. This is obviously just an email address that has been set up for the sake of being set up for the ARG. So I'm gonna type up a nice email right here. I'm gonna show you my email writing skills. I'm gonna just go. What do I write? Dearest Lance, I hope this finds you well. I recently came across an article concerning, there you go, that's a good word, concerning a giant eyeball that was discovered upon the very shore of Pompano Beach, was it? Pompano Beach. Okay, I'm going to say I'm currently in the process of analyzing the captain's log that was also found recently pertaining to Gravity Falls. Kindest regards, Owen Zone, lead analyst, Ozo Investigations. I don't know why I feel nervous doing this. Why do I feel nervous writing an email, a fake email for an ARG? Anyway, I'm going to send this email over to Lance, and we'll see if we hear back. The other thing that you guys wanted me to do, which is probably a little bit more complicated than just sending an email, is basically in this this screen, you can do that thing that we just did where you type in the passwords, etc. But there's also another button above this, which you can't quite see because my face cam is blocking it, but it's not too important that you see it. When you click this button, it comes up with a random sound, like this. That is so random because that is the exact sound I wanted. That is the exact sound that I wanted because I didn't realize this while I was recording last episode. I was just like, oh my god, it's like that Among Us sound where it goes when somebody gets booted off. But no, it's Morse code. It's Morse code, of course it is. So we need to take that recording that I just recorded just now and put it into Premiere Pro and listen to what it actually says in Morse code. So here is the audio. I've isolated the audio and we're gonna listen to it right now, and we're not gonna get it instantly, but here is what the Morse code is. Yeah, so you can hear basically how Morse code works. If you don't know, is Morse code is made up of lots of dots and dashes, and as you can see on the screen to your left, you can see what a dot and a dash corresponds to. It's an A. And then if you get a dash dot dot dot, then that's a B, etc. And there are spaces in between letters. We can solve this, I would say, if we slow it down a little bit, because at the moment it's just going at 1,000,000 miles per hour. So I'm actually going to slow this down and try and... Actually, oh my gosh, I'm so smart. You can see it in the waveform. Hang on. If I drag this, here you can see, this is such a cool tip for anybody who's trying to solve Morse code. You can see here, this is definitely a dash and that's a dot, right? Beep, beep. Yeah, I think that's a dash dot. So dash dot is going to be, of all of these choices, an N. So we write down an N. Don't mind me, I'm literally just going to do this in OBS. So N, so we have dash dot, which is an N. Then we have dot dash dot dot. What is that? Dot dash dot dot is L. Yeah, that is an L. So maybe this is going to be an anagram of some sorts. Like we got NL. A dot dash is an A. 3 dots in a row is going to be an S. That is just a standard T. Last. Oh, hang on. Maybe it's going to be... It might be a word repeated over and over. And therefore, the N isn't necessarily the beginning of that. It might just be... Like, it might just be like finishing off the last thing. I don't know. But we do have last here, which is interesting. So we've got a T here, and then we've got 2 dots, which is an I. Yeah, it seems to be making a word now of some sort. I don't know what the N is doing there, but we've got last and I. And then what is this? So that's dash dot dot, which is, what is that? Dash dot dot is a D. What is dot dash dot dot? Oh, L again. It's not looking good, bro. What's strange about this is it seems to be spelling something out, but it's kind of half there. Am I missing something? Lasted. Maybe this N is wrong, maybe this D is wrong, but I feel like it's a repeating word, right? Because we got something LASTID, and then it goes back to the LAST, and it fades out. Notice how it fades out. So it's not a definitive like sentence or something. It literally fades over time. So that kind of gives you that gives you the sense that it's repeating. See, it fades as though to say dot dot dot, like it's repeating. I don't know what to do with this information. That is so weird, because it goes. It is like a rhythm almost. Like you can hear where it repeats. like there. So I'm thinking, listen to this first part. Da 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 da. And then let's hear that again and place a marker where it repeats. It feels like it's here. Right? And then here again. Very faintly, but... oh, man. I don't know. This isn't the same. Chaos. So it isn't repeating. Guys, let me know in the comments if you've solved this one. I have no idea. I'm stuck for answers there. I think that is an interesting thing. Unless, hang on, are there numbers? Numbers, what I do know about Morse code is all of the letters are 4 characters long. As you can see, none of them go above 4 characters. But when you get to numbers and I think any like punctuation or anything, it turns to 5 and 6 maybe, because obviously there's only a certain amount of 4 character combinations where you've only got two characters. So that's an interesting one. Let me know in the comments again if you have solved this one, if you have any ideas how to solve this, or if it's even solvable, if it even is Morse code and a puzzle. But it feels like it is. It feels like it is, and I have no idea. So I will leave that to you guys. But I am now ready to go back into this book. So from last time, basically, we learned that this book is a book that Stanley and Stanford have and are creating as they are exploring the Arctic Ocean. And I can't actually quite remember everything that happened here because there is a lot of text. But essentially, Ford wants to explore more weirdness because obviously in Gravity Falls, we learn that there are these these hotspots of weirdness. And one of them was Gravity Falls, for example. That was, I think, the biggest one. But then there's another in the middle of the ocean. And so what is that? And that they're exploring that. But they're also exploring family, because family was a big theme in Gravity Falls. And family is what Stan Lee and Stanford kind of always wanted, but they would never like kind of cross the same line, if you know what I mean. Like they were always kind of parallel to each other in the sense that they would never kind of make ends meet. And they managed to make ends meet at the end of Gravity Falls, and they are now exploring that kind of blossoming friendship, I guess, that you have in your family. You are twin brothers. You should kind of have that sort of connection. So our voyage and new captain's log, October 1st. So yeah, I think this is really interesting stuff. You see some really cool little drawings everywhere. And if you want, like I forget to say, if you want to go and read this for yourself, it is all completely free. You literally need to go to gfcaptainslog.com and you can investigate everything. It's a lot like the Book of Bill website in the sense that you can investigate for yourself. You don't have to wait for me to make videos. You don't have to listen to me talk this entire time, but it might be nice to have someone accompany you on the way, and I am here for you. So my family reunion, and then we get the layout of the captain's log, and this is where we left off last time. So I'm going to continue as normal. But I'm probably not going to read every single word on every single page, just because that is going to take a lot of time, and it's content that I think a lot of you probably won't want at all. But this is your preliminary layout concept, and this was really interesting. I thought this was kind of like a contents page, but I guess it's not really, because there's no like page numbers or anything. But Ford's goals and his scientific analyses versus Stanley's analyses. Money, babes, drinks, consequences, none. Ethics, Gesundheit. You need a tissue or something. So let's continue reading through this. Going forward, my log will capture not just the data, but the emotional undertow of my experiences, something my previous journals often neglected. Let's hope this approach yields groundbreaking revelations, or at least fewer regrets. That's right, document my brilliance. Make sure to include the part where I saved our bacon while you were busy explaining theoretical turbulence to the waves. Speaking of regrets, the ocean has proven far less forgiving than we were to each other. We didn't make it home as quickly as I'd hoped. We started out by tracking a few odd signals, but I never expected to sail headfirst into a swarm of... So this is where the Journal 3-esque kind of part comes in. We're going to meet some weird and wonderful wacky creatures and characters. So let's get straight into it. Levitating shrimp! Let's go! What I always wanted in the Gravity Falls universe related to flying fish. Their shells are hydrophobic. They glide off the water like skipping stones. I really wish these guys existed. That would be so cool. Fear of boiling pots of water. What possible reason could a shrimp have for levitation? Perhaps they learned to levitate to evade undersea predators. It's terrifying witnessing a swarm of these things coming at you in the middle of a moonlit night. There's something deeply unsettling about a shrimp that refuses to stay in the water. And then this picture of a shrimp saying "help" by Stan. Stan's drawings are so funny compared to Ford's. And there you go, you can see we've got our first proper cipher, I think. Apart from the Twitter page, of course. We've got our first cipher from this book. So this is obviously an A1Z26, so I'm going to type this into a decoder. For all of my decoding needs, I use a website called Decode, and it's literally decode.fr. And I am looking for an A1Z26 cipher, so A1Z26. And then here we go, I found it. So letter number code A1Z26, where A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. I guess going back into this, I'm going to have to reintroduce you to all of these weird and wacky ciphers. But this is one of the ciphers that was kind of pretty prevalent in the Gravity Falls universe. It was the only number cipher, really, apart from Silly Straws. The Silly Straws page was ridiculous. 19,520, 19,1912. Up here, it says, set sail aboard a sea of pizza. Very nice. I knew, just like in the books, these codes are probably not going to be that important to actually solve, but they're quite cool. XL Squid. What the frick does this say? Archithudis dus. Extra large. Let's look up what that means. Oh, it is actually a giant squid. Oh, I hate it. I hate squids. And the fact that there is a giant squid that exists. Kraken-like creatures, tentacles and all, I freaking hate them. I cannot stand them. I have a phobia, thalassophobia I think it's called. Or thassalophobia, I can't remember which way around it is. But I do want to do videos at some point where it's maybe I'd call it paranoia or something, where it's literally just me reacting to things that I'm scared of, because I'm scared of basically everything. But anyway, XL Squid, extra large. Is there an XXL squid? I don't know. Also known as the fashion squid, 20 feet long with deep sea style. At first I thought I'd encountered the legendary giant squid, but here's where it gets strange. These creatures have developed a habit of wearing size XL shirts. Oh my gosh. Why? It might provide insulation in the frigid depths, or perhaps it's a bizarre fashion statement. Stranger still, the shifts almost always feature logos from beachside tourist traps. Coincidence? Unlikely. Could this strange trend be an accidental byproduct of oceanic pollution, now a crucial part of the XL squid's mysterious ecosystem? Note, dumping unsold tourist junk into the ocean is still a bad idea. I don't condone it. Wow, so this is just the result of a giant squid who has been affected by pollution and humans being bad at protecting the environment, and they've just thrown they've lost some t-shirts, and the giant squids have taken the extra large ones, which is why it's called an XL squid. Great. Once again, here we have some Morse code. I don't know why I ever closed that Morse code thing that I had. Actually, I can get that back up. Here we go. So it's going to be a dash dot, which is... what is that? An N, a dot, which is an E. I know that. So far, it says never trust a squid. Never trust a squid. And then the next part is, I'm very confused here, but it says never trust a squid that says trust me. But the thing that's weird is there's a dot dash dot dot dash dot, which, as we clarified before, letters can only be 4 characters long. Dots and dashes. This is 8. And if you split this in half, it becomes 2 R's. Oh, sorry, this is 6. I can't count. I was thinking it might be some sort of punctuation, but why would that be one before and after, unless you're, say, Spanish, where you have like the upside down question marks before questions? I don't know. That's a weird one. But never trust a squid that says trust me is basically what it says, which is funny. Kappa. Speaking of lies, Kappa. Torta sapiens. Sometimes spelled Kappa, a nod to their odd obsession with wearing caps. Short, turtle-like creatures with smooth skin, hard shells, and a grudge against metal or boats. A beak-like mouth. No, for cucumbers. Oh, for crushing crustaceans? No, for cucumbers. We got another code here, and to be honest, I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired already of these ciphers, man. Part of the reason I'm so tired of this already is because we're only like 3 pages into this video, and there are 400 pages of this. We're only on page 18. So I don't really know if we should decode everything, but I guess we can do this one because it's a different one. This is the Journal 3 cipher. There are actually 2 of these ciphers. Like, there's 2 possibilities of what this could be. It could either be Stanford speaking in this talk, or it could be Bill Cipher speaking. And the reason that this cipher even exists is because it is a secret communication between Bill and Stanford, I believe, at least. So that is what that is. So let's see if we can get this. Here's my amazing Excel spreadsheet that I made for all things Gravity Falls. Oh my god, so many memories of all of these cool things. Wow, this is so cool. But here we go. Here is a lot of just cipher stuff. This is a very bad spreadsheet, but at least we can use this to our ability. So it's either this cipher or it's this cipher. I think, is this the Bill cipher? No, this would be the Bill cipher one, right? I don't know. I think they're actually from 2 different books. I don't think they're both Journal 3, but either way. So this could be, because we start with a T here and then we have the Y shape, which is a H. So I think it is this one. I think it's this circle one. Oh, hang on. I'm doing this and it says they serve a gel. So is this going to say a jellyfish lord or something? They serve a gel. And then we've got this one, a jelly, yes. And then, I'm sorry you can't see the original thing, but I'm looking at it on my other monitor. They serve a jelly. It isn't jellyfish. It's jelly H, and then this E. Where is it? They serve a jelly haster? Master. Is it master? Did I get it wrong? I might have gotten it wrong. Is it master? Oh, it is master. They serve a jelly master. Okay, so over and over again, we are being told about this jellyfish. And actually, I can show you what this jellyfish supposedly looks like by clicking this button. The first button. It's the first button. It's the last one that I tried. This is a emperor jellyfish anomaly. And we keep hearing about jellyfish. What is going on with this jellyfish? And I am wondering if this is Bill Cipher's new form almost. I don't know if that's going to be something that actually comes up in this, but jellyfish anomaly, like, we keep hearing about jellyfish. So when are we going to find out about this jellyfish? Their hats protect a cranial reservoir filled with a liquid eerily similar to clam chowder. New England style, no less. Spill the soup and they're paralyzed. It's their life source. Yes, I sampled it. Don't judge me. This raises a chilling question. Could New Englanders who eat too much chowder become Kappa? What a weird sentence, man. Cucumbers are a vital ingredient to their chowder-like brain soup. When they found our pickle stash, they bowed to us, offering trade for even half a pickle spear. Do they worship vegetables? The evidence suggests maybe. What a good deal. Wait. Yeah, we are talking about pickles. For a minute, I was like, we're talking about cucumbers. That's not a dill. Next page, we've got weird bugs. Environmental phenomena. Out of all the bizarre anomalies I've encountered in my life, and there have been many, weird bugs remain among the most confounding. I've seen countless icebergs on my travels, but only one made me drop anchor for further study. Unlike ordinary icebergs which drift aimlessly on ocean currents, these giant ice cubes appear to possess a kind of rudimentary locomotion. They don't just float around, minding their own business, which raises a philosophical question. Do icebergs even have business? Now I need to study more icebergs. No, weird bugs notice ships and seem to take offense. They'll actively pursue any nearby vessel, apparently intent on sinking it. Do not sail anywhere near these. What a weird picture again. What is Stan doing, man? One particular weird bug approached the Stano War 2. Stanley's quick thinking saved us. While he was maneuvering the ship, I was too busy calculating the mass to velocity ratio. I was trying to fathom the colossal energy required for this thing to move at all. We were seconds away from a catastrophic encounter. Regular iceberg, weird bug. Oh, weird bugs are colder. I see, okay. The colder, the weirder. I mean, that's kind of true in just in general life, right? Like cryostasis and stuff. I hate that. What was it doing? Are there ocean giants using giant refrigerators somewhere that made these weird bugs? Maybe. Could weird bugs be the real cause behind some infamous maritime disasters? Consider the gigantic. Perhaps it was stalked in the dead of the night as the prey of a rogue weird bug. Another squid, man. There are so many squids. Ooh, I like this rune thing. I'm assuming this is all of the well, it is all the runes from the rune cipher, which is really cool. So this is the Psy Squid. At first glance, you'd think a Psy Squid is just your run-of-the-mill giant squid. Oh, how wrong I was. The moment it gets close to your ship, brace yourself, or start saying your goodbyes to dry land for good. Spotted us right through a raging storm like we were a giant neon sign. Their skin, stronger than steel. Stanley punched one while I hurled my harpoon with all my might. It hit, but only just scared it off. I suspect the one we encountered was a juvenile. Bottom line, stay away from size squids unless you enjoy the thrill of nearby being sawed in half. Oh! It's a cyclops squid. I didn't realize that. I didn't get the joke. I thought it was like the cryonosis that we were just talking about. I do see this cipher up here. I'm assuming this is just going to be a Caesar cipher. If not, it's an Atbash. Luckily, my trusty helper, aka my spreadsheet, is going to be really good for this because I can just type all of this in and it will do all of it for me. VMXV, something like that. Okay, it's an Atbash. It is an Atbash. Never arm wrestle a kraken, not even for science. I got multiple of those letters wrong, but never arm wrestle a kraken, not even for science. That's great. So there you go. There is your first Atbash cipher. Oh, and just so that everybody is in the know, an Atbash cipher is where you take the entire alphabet and you flip it around and you map each letter again. So an A would be a Z, a B would be a Y, a C would be an X. Here we have a lovely picture of the Stano War 2 that's probably going to go straight into my thumbnail. So, by the way, all the art in this is amazing. I really like it, and it's very well done in the sense that it feels like it's continuing on from Journal 3 in a way. It occurs to me that if I am going to keep a proper captain's log documenting all the bizarre anomalies my brother and I have encountered, I should start detailing our transport. Trust me, this isn't your typical fishing vessel. This ship, if I do say so myself, is a marvel of improvised engineering. Part floating laboratory, part pirate ship. The latter, of course, is entirely Stanley's doing. More on that later. For now, let's just say it's equipped for scientific discovery, maritime misadventure, and a healthy dose of creative modifications from my old friend back in Gravity Falls, crossed out. At its core, the Stano War 2 is a high-tech research station outfitted with equipment personally curated by me to be the top vessel in the world for locating and, if necessary, capturing anomalies. It does this in a variety of ways. Morse code. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip some of these ciphers. And I know these are probably going to have important information. I think maybe in a near future video, we're going to go through each of these and solve them properly. But I don't currently have a great setup for solving all of these ciphers and stuff. And we've already seen some Morse code ciphers today. So I'm going to continue normally reading just a few more pages, I would say. So next up, we've got the Weirdness Radar, my state-of-the-art invention designed to detect anomalies, measure reality distortions, and locate anything classified as more than just a tad bit strange. Just a tad bit strange, oh my god. Warning, may cause existential dread if left on for too long. May cause existential dread if left on for too long. Is it not this? This is a weirdometer. I'm assuming this is just a GIF though, and we can test this. Yeah, here we go. Sorry guys, I'm just destroying this website. Where would it be? I have actually gone through a lot of the code of this website, and I understand what's going on here, and I was looking for things. Yeah, this is just a GIF. It's weirdometer.gif. So there's actually nothing too interesting about that. Actually, I think if I do Command Option U, yes, I can see the source code. And I haven't gone through the source code in this way, but I'm wondering if there is going to be anything interesting. Quote, was it inside? Error in logic. I am not inside anything. You are. What? There's stuff in the source code of this website. I don't know if there was in the this is not a website.com. I assumed there wasn't. But that's such a cool secret. If that was intentional, I'm assuming it is. Here you have all of the MP3 files. So we've got ambience with ambient rain, bookviewer.html. I mean, this is just the website, or the book by itself, which is so cool. Monitor button, weirdometer, binoculars, dial, tap. Like, I have looked in here to see if I missed any buttons or anything, and I don't think I have. That is such a random secret. Quote, was redacted. It's inside. Error in logic. I am not inside anything. You are. Kind of feels like if there's like a monster here, like there was a monster taking over the brain of the person behind the Twitter account, Lance Skipper. It kind of feels like it's kind of coming up to this website as well. I don't know. It's very, very strange. Very strange. Yeah. Anyway, we've got the comm tower. I took parts of this from the totem pole of the Mystery Shack before leaving Oregon. It's capable of picking up signals from across the world, or other worlds. It's slightly miscalibrated right now, though. Stanley's been using it to prank sailors on their CB radios. Right. The Aqua What IC scanner. It's giving me Mabel vibes. What? This marvel of engineering detects things that make you go, what? Hidden anomalies, mysterious underwater structures, and the occasional grumpy sea creatures. So far, sea turtles seem to become particularly upset when I use it. Still working out why. All right, then. And then we've got a WPS. Strange symbols. WPS, our weird positioning system. Like a GPS, which is a geo... or global positioning system, I think it is. It's either geo or global. I think it's global. Found this on a ghost lifeboat. It's haunted. I'll document more about this particular instrument later, but I will say here, it came with a unique personality. Personality which you can literally see right here. Brain magnifier. F, my old and now quite eccentric friend once toiled over this lens to try to view microscopic memories he believed to be locked within his mind. Unfortunately, he abandoned the project halfway through, distracted by some other mechanical fascination, likely the prototype for one of his bizarre automatons. With his permission, I salvaged the lens and modified it into something for our journey. It can view the strange, the unusual, and the mega weird that our normal human eyes simply can't, or refuse to. Secret button. Very cool, thank you, Ford. Cool, so that's the equipment that they're going with. For now, I'm going to have a little bit of a leave, because I've been recording for quite a long time, and we're not as far through as I want to be. Alright then, it is the next day and I have a little bit of an update for you. At the very beginning of this video, we sent this very email to Lance. Dearest Lance, I hope this finds you well. I recently came across an article concerning a giant eyeball that was discovered upon the shore in Pompano Beach and was wondering if you had any further information at this time. I'm in the process of analysing the captain's log. The two are connected. I look forward to hearing back from you, and then my professional email stuff. And he has come back. And he came back at 3 a.m. for me, but of course, I'm sure this is American made, so it would have been like 9 p.m. maybe, I don't know. Anyway, he's come back with this, and this, I mean, it looks like A1Z26, right? I don't know what's going on here though. Hey, or something. No, that's not, no. Something A, U, V, I don't know. Let's put it in a decoder. Here we go. So I wonder if this is going to work. Decrypt automatically. Here we go. It does work. Up here, we got har, har, har. So this be what it like to what? Wait. So this be what it like to what were it? Surf the web. Damn it! That is not useful to me. He's saying this is what it be like to surf the web. So that's come directly from Lance. So I think this kind of continues with our theory, right? That Lance has been possessed by something, because Lance is behind the Twitter page. The Twitter page was completely sane until a few things from Gravity Falls washed ashore. He got the hold of the captain's log and everything started going ballistic on the Twitter page. All of the grammar and spelling mistakes were there. All of the weird ciphers had started to appear. And now we've emailed him directly and he's given us this random code. It doesn't seem human to me, right? So that's kind of confirmed that sort of theory, which, you know, I like that as like a setup into the whole ARG. I think that's great, and that kind of lore bit there is pretty cool. So that's the only update I've got. Har, har, har. This is what it's like to surf the web. Okay, so let's continue with this book. It's going to take me back to the start. We're not going to do too much more, but obviously 26 pages out of 450, like how many videos is that? So I'm gonna have to think about how I want to do this series, because if I want to read the entire thing, that's going to be either a lot of videos or a very long video. So let me know maybe what you think in the comments below, but we'll probably only get to page like 35 or 40 today. But either way, let's just keep going and forget about the length, because there is a lot. Anomaly pods, glass vessels that are coated with my special weirdness barrier formula that I helped develop in my bunker at the old lab. Pretty much captures anything weird indefinitely, you know, for further study. I have pocketable ones and large ones. This one, this anomaly pod, is this, right? This is an anomaly pod. And even here you see this says Anomaly Pod Mark 2.0 Mobile Containment Unit, and it tells you everything that it does, which, as a reminder, it neutralizes and stores small anomalous phenomena. And it's shatterproof. It's got a glass sphere, weirdness barrier, superconducting micro tether, never tap the glass, do not store near microwaves, dimensional rifts, or haunted wind chimes. So Oh yeah, and there was this weird thing about it humming orca noises. Very strange. Anyway, that exists. So I guess that's just another thing that they brought along with them to kind of, I guess, store anomalies. I'm not too sure, but there you go. Oh, well, yeah, it says it right there. Captures anything weird indefinitely for further study. So that's cool. Stanley's big boomerang cannon. I equipped this to the bow of our boat at the request of Stan. Apparently, he traded some old merman carcass for it at the Gravity Falls lake. We haven't had to use it yet, but it has a single magical cannonball that returns to the cannon like a boomerang, so we don't need additional ammo. Oh, that's so cool. We'll see how that goes. My hypothesis is that it will destroy whatever we aim at it, then promptly circle back around and also destroy the cannon itself. Last resort option. That's great. That's great. I didn't even think about that. What if the cannon destroys the cannon itself? It is its greatest weakness. That's interesting. Tempest engine. A souped up V28 engine, diesel powered. Speaking of the Gravity Falls lake, our Tempest engine may also have a few robot engine parts from an old man-made lake monster. Oh, McGucket's Gobblewonker, probably. Why is it a Tempest, you ask? Simple. I put a mad sorcerer's weather orb containing a sentient raging storm inside the engine. When the storm gets really, really mad, you're going to see some serious additional seahorse power. At least, seahorse power, that's funny. At least, I hope we will. It may just explode, killing us and half the sea with it. Whatever happens though, based on my calculations, this is the only engine in this dimension capable of traversing truly weird waters without sputtering. The diving bell. Pretty much an old church bell. This bell no longer gongs because it's now a fully functional underwater exploration device. Its sheer size and sturdiness provide excellent protection from potential deep sea implosions, or at least my calculations show it should. I'd rather not find out how well it holds up against something with tentacles the size of whales, however. Okay, continuing on. This ship's hold, while tight, is also outfitted with a variety... Sorry, it's really hard to get my zoom right. With a variety of other facilities. We have my collection of mystic bookshelves, my multifunctional workstation and guidance monitors, Stanley's all reliable, his knuckle dusters, our lunch bench, if I ever pull myself away from my research long enough to have a proper meal, our cold storage, for bodies, I mean sandwiches on ice, and our bunks and lockers. Oh, of course, last but in no way least, engine room, science hold. Oh, the crew. I was like, what is he referring to? But he's referring to the crew. The crew are a part of the ship. Myself and the other of the two Stans of the Stano War 2, Stanley, my twin brother, and I are the entire crew complement of this ship. While I'm holed up in my cramped laboratory, crunching numbers and formulating theories, Stanley's at the helm, making sure we stay on course. He's the one steering us through the unknown, while I'm usually in the background calculating our odds, and occasionally fixing atomizing lasers from a distance, if it comes to that, and, well, it does, often. But when it comes to facing dangers, that's where Stanley shines. He's the one who gets up close and personal with the weirdness. Lately, it's been mostly a battle of his metal with metal. Brass, to be exact, because I've modified his knuckles. Great. Okay. Oh my god, Seuss! Seuss! Yes! You can't quite see him, but we'll get there. Stan's brass. These deserve an entry of their own. Stanley's been carrying these trusty knuckle dusters since we were teenagers. I distinctly remember him using them to settle arguments back in high school. But these days, they've seen far more action against paranormal creatures. Zombies, unicorns, ghouls, giant seagulls, you name it. They're particularly effective at killing zombies, or rather, re-killing zombies, sorry. That said, as effective as they are, they're still ordinary brass, or at least they were. After years of wear and tear, and let's face it, more than a few acidic monster guts, the brass was starting to tarnish. Right, because isn't brass an alloy of copper and iron? I think it's copper and iron. But obviously, like copper, if you think about copper, it over time changes color, and iron rusts over time. So put them together and you kind of get, brass kind of has the same sort of effect, I guess. That's when I decided to give them a much needed upgrade. Using a special anodizing process developed by a metalsmith I met in the multiverse, I standardized them. Earth Dimension patent pending. This original technique imbued them with a blend of specialized alloys, including silver and garlic. Right? Now not only are they zombie slayers, but if any werewolves or vampires make them mad, they're going to have a pretty bad day. Or night? Probably night. Daywalkers irritate me. They defy my classifications. Great. What a weird picture. Speaking of pictures, we got Zeus. Dude, pocket punch. That was such a bad accent. Oh, I cannot do a Stan, a Zeus I can't do a Stan accent either. I can't do any accents. Dude. That's just XQC. At the insistence of one of Stanley's former Mystery Shack employees, now running the shack in his absence, I took the liberty of adding a, shall we say, combustion-based upgrade. That's right, the knuckle dusters, and thus Stanley's fists, are now rocket-propelled. What the frick? When I asked why that particular upgrade was so desirable, he simply said that he needed one of us to yell "Rocket Punch" as we hit all the bad guys. I'm still not entirely sure what this rocket punch will entail, but I'm sure he will be pleased to know Stanley can now do this. Is that a reference to like Falcon Punch? Or whatever. I don't know. It could be. Warning may cause unintended explosions. Great. I love that that's just like plain text. Anyway. Ooh, this looks nice. Shamrock Beach. How lucky. My time in Oregon taught me a lot about the weird, the strange, and the unnatural, but it has also made me assume that the weirdness out here would follow the same patterns as the oddities in the Pacific Northwest. I figured gnomes, leprechauns, hell, everything must operate on similar principles, since most things weird are made of the same basic materials. I made a slight miscalculation, or rather, I've been working on admitting this. It turns out I was wrong. Yes, I am noticing this Morse code right here, but we are going to skip that for now and come back at a later date. That miscalculation almost cost Stanley his arm to a rainbow. Well, more specifically, rainbow candy. Lepra candy. Cool. Stanley equals +1 courage, -1 arm. Wouldn't it be so cool if there was Gravity Falls like RPG? That would be great. Here be weirdness. Shamrock Beach. When we first set sail, navigating into these anomalous waters proved more difficult than I had anticipated. Almost immediately, our ship's core systems began malfunctioning due to some of the weirdness emanating from particularly strange ocean currents. Okay. In the interim, a levitating shrimp, call back to the levitating shrimp, decided to take a detour and flew straight into the Tempest engine's exhaust port, almost as if it wanted to be there. Fascinating, right? Well, it would have been if the side effects hadn't been so utterly unpredictable. As this shrimp levitated deeper into the engine, the magical radiation interacting with the shrimp's levitation bladder had some unintended side effects. It grew and grew until we were dealing with what Stanley lovingly referred to as a giant levitating shrimp. It broke part of the hull, and before we knew it, water was flooding in fast. I wonder if the part of the hull that it broke was the one that washed up upon the shore, or I don't know if it will be, but the one that washed up upon the shore of Pompano Beach, because that's what we saw in the Twitter post. So I wonder if that is related at all. But I remember one of them had a big shark bite, so let's watch out for any sharks, because that will be related to that. Why a shrimp? Why always a shrimp? Shrimp plus rainbow equals death. Note to self: shrimp bladder. Is bladder the right word there? I don't know why we're talking about the bladder, but shrimp bladder, magic radiation, doom. We were in serious trouble, but we were fortunate enough to be near what we thought was an uncharted and probably deserted island. But that's when things, as they so often do with us, got weird. The entire beach was covered in clovers instead of sand. That is sick. That is so cool. Luckily, the Stano War 2's front hull is mostly metal with some composite wood materials, which is a small blessing in a situation like this. Carpentry at sea is tough, welding is easier. I have a sonic laser welder on board for quick repairs, but of course, I was out of power. I didn't plan for a literal hull explosion, so I had to deploy our laser-focused solar array panel. It works great, even on cloudy days. Truly a marvel of modern engineering. One day we'll patent it. While I was busy trying to restore power and get everything back in working order, Stanley, even the impatient one, decided to explore the beach alone. Sure enough, it didn't take long for him to stumble upon something shiny. He had found a gold coin. Of course, gold coins on an uncharted island are never just gold coins. It was either a long-lost pirate doubloon, or... The moment I laid eyes on it, I knew exactly what it was. Oh, okay. My god, this zooming is difficult. I need to use the buttons that I have available to me more. Sorry. The moment I laid eyes upon it, I knew exactly what it was. A leprechaun coin. But wait, no, this one was different. It wasn't plastic like the cheap novelty coins leprechauns spit out. No, this one felt far too solid. Naturally, I had to taste it. Scientific method, you know. Turns out it wasn't a chocolate coin either, although I did taste a hint of some kind of artificial flavouring. Stanley, of course, knew it was real gold right away, but I wasn't about to take his word for it without some tests. So I ran the numbers, did some quick scans, and sure enough, it registered as 100% pure gold, no trace elements, with a huge spike on the weirdness meter. It was off the charts, literally, a solid 11. The pointer on my gauge almost broke through the glass. This could only be genuine leprechaun gold. No sooner had I finished analysing the exact chemical composition of the coin when I noticed Stanley was already plotting how to barter with the leprechauns. Wow, look at this. Of course he was, of course he was. We gotta get more of that, Ford. Could be useful, you never know. Why is he British? Agreed, I replied, adjusting my glasses. But also, think of the potential for knowledge. Interviewing a leprechaun could provide groundbreaking insights into cryptological or cryptozoological linguistics, folklore, and perhaps even anomalous material science. Imagine the possibilities. Yeah, interview research, blah blah blah. But that gold could actually do something useful, like fund our next trip. Or hell, maybe it's magical. Ever think of that, Brainiac? We could buy a new engine, stock up on a better gear, or get me a top shelf bottle of rum for once. As he ranted, I noticed him rummaging through his gear bag. A moment later, he triumphantly pulled out his brass knuckles and the infamous Skull Basher 1.0, his trusty baseball bat. The 1.0 denoted some of my metallic modifications. My eyes narrowed instinctively behind my glasses. Stanley, I said, my tone sharp. Don't start, Sixer. I'm just being practical. Just because leprechauns are the size of baseballs doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, continuing on. Oh, leprechauns. Spoilers. Stanley, I said, exasperated. We've been over this. They're not baseballs. They're sentient, sapient beings with cultural and possibly trans-dimensional significance. I'm trying to approach this scientifically, and here you are, gearing up for a bar fight with mythical creatures. Stanley rolled his eyes and hefted the bat over his shoulder. Yeah, scientifically. Let me know how that works out for you when you're up to your knees in angry little green dude, Sixer. I'll be making sure they don't turn me into a clover or some other shit. Stan Lee? Oh my gosh. I did not know that would be swearing in this, but that's great. Hot Belgian waffles. Sometimes I wonder why I even bother. Although it turned out Stanley was wiser than I gave him credit for. Okay. Moving on. I had some time to kill waiting for my welder to recharge. And well, I'd never actually met a leprechaun, though I wanted this to be a formal introduction, just in case. I figured it would be prudent to grab my laser gun. You never know when Stanley's enthusiasm might get the better of him. After all, I could already picture him getting a little too interested in what he called leprechaun baseball while we were on the island. Best to be prepared. Leprechauns, incredibly short and stout, but not as short as gnomes. They have an odd sense of style too. Every single one of them wears the same green velvet jacket and green felt top hat. It's like a leprechaun uniform, which I suppose is efficient, if not a bit too colour coordinated for my taste. Live in small houses with bright green roofs of grass. Right, I wasn't sure if I was reading that right. The centre of town houses a giant factory, at least giant by leprechaun standards. I love that. We've got Gnomes 2.0. That's great. It's great, great, great. Okay. What do we got here? I like this. I like the dialogue parts. I think the dialogue parts are really engaging. More so than just for talking about certain objects and certain creatures. I think a lot of the dialogue is really like, at least for me, I get in the moment with it. I can kind of picture it. So yeah, that's just me maybe. What they lack in stature, they more than make up for in industriousness. They're very industrious salesmen too. Before even introducing themselves, one of them tried to sell me a bizarre assortment of items not in this exact order. A heart-shaped ring, a shark jaw, green shag carpet installed on Stano War 2 at no extra charge. I can only assume these were highly sought after in their culture. Shark jaw. Where did they get that from? There's a shark coming. There's a shark coming. I don't know why that made me laugh so much. St. Patrick's Bay. That's great. That's such a great pun. It's a twist on St. Patrick's Day. I noticed their manufacturing plant churning out an absurd amount of rainbow-coloured fumes. Apparently there's some kind of niche market for their bizarre rainbow-coloured candy. Whether it's actually good or just some leprechaun thing, I'm not sure, but it's clearly in demand. Okay, we got a leprechaun pub, the factory, some housing, more housing down here, treehouse bench, and of course St. Patrick's Bay. They took an immediate interest in Stanley's brass knuckles. At first, I thought they might be after the metal, like Kappa, but no. Once they realised it wasn't gold, they quickly lost interest and moved on. Right. Great. Oh, I like this. I like this art. I was like, why does he have 3 faces? But no, it's him shaking his head. That's really good. I also thought this was going to be like Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy, where he just like steals... He tries to steal Bucky's arm or something. Oh, cool. I like these pages, actually. Discovery. After much careful work, I managed to remove the top hat from one of the sleeping leprechauns. I was taken aback at what was underneath, a giant shamrock, connected to the leprechaun's skull. I had to remove the top hat carefully, though. Apparently their shamrock hair is highly sensitive, and can detect even the slightest movement. I also learned, and perhaps this was even more fascinating, that their burial rituals involve planting the dead. Literally. That's when a sudden wave of dread washed over me. I got a sick feeling about the beach we washed up on, and the clusters of clovers I had stomped on. No! No! The Lord of the Leprechauns. This is a cool page. Leprechaun jump scare. It's a cool page. The Lord of the Leprechauns. I like that. During my interview with the town's so-called leader, the self-proclaimed esteemed Lord of the Leprechauns, I noticed that the other leprechauns kept their distance. It quickly became apparent that the title was more ceremonial than anything. He was only appointed because he was the most recent leprechaun to find a 4-leaf clover. A lord in name only. The other leprechauns didn't respect him in the slightest, though. They certainly seemed to fear him. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Let's just continue until we get to the end of the leprechaun talk. He proudly informed me that he was special because, unlike most of his kin, he didn't have an adverse reaction to 4-leaf clovers. This particular reaction, which he cryptically referred to as rainbow warts, was something I had no intention of learning more about. Honestly, at that point, I didn't want to know much more about leprechauns at all. I had enough weirdness for one day and decided it was time to focus on repairing the Stano War. A source of power? Okay. There's another code down here. Pot o' gold. I was in the middle of welding when I heard it, screaming. It was Stanley. Naturally, I spun around, only to see my twin brother running down the hill towards Shamrock Beach. carrying the largest pot of gold I had ever laid eyes on, his cigar dangling precariously from his mouth. It was absurd. I could feel a familiar sinking sensation in my stomach. I had it, Sixer, I had it, but the damn thing had a friggin' alarm. A rainbow, Ford. A goddamn rainbow shot out of it, pointing right back to the middle of town. How the hell was I supposed to know that? He tripped briefly but kept running. Get the engines going, now! For a fleeting moment, one of my rare brushes with optimism, I considered telling Stanley to drop the pot of gold and save himself from the trouble. But as I write this, I realize just how utterly ridiculous that thought was. Of course he wouldn't drop it. This was Stanley we were talking about. I was going to say, you really think Stanley would drop the pot of gold to save himself? No. He is keeping that to his grave. A 6-leaf clover? Are you kidding? Rainbow Road? Come on, Ford. I'm not joking. This thing is going to bring every damn leprechaun in town down on us. And I dropped my bat. I seriously doubt he dropped the bat. Knowing Stanley, he probably prioritized the pot of gold over his own self-defense without a second thought. And honestly, that tracks. Sounds about right. Stanley's screams were soon drowned out by the unmistakable sounds of a horde of ravenous leprechauns, loud and whiny. I'm pretty sure it was every single one of them. I'd always thought gnomes were fierce, but these leprechauns were something else entirely. They moved in a way I can only describe as an undulating mass of shimmering colour, each one carrying torches with wildfires that looked like they were about to set the whole beach on fire and pitchforks twice their size. If I recall correctly, the gnomes could combine into some kind of giant gnome beast. Leprechauns, it seemed, morphed into tidal waves of the colour of the rainbow itself. Oh god. As I scrambled for my laser gun, I was frozen in indecision. Should I set it to stun or kill? My fingers fumbled with the settings, and in the chaos I dropped it. When I looked down to grab my gun, there it was. A 6-leaf clover! Ah! Despite all the chaos coming towards me so quickly, I couldn't help but be utterly fascinated by the 6-leaf clover. I suppose I've always had an odd attraction to the number 6. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. It's significant to me, but this clover, it was something else. It sat so perfectly in the center of my vision. It stood proudly, a flawless anomaly, surrounded by 4-leaf clovers. Those were already rare enough, but they paled in comparison to the sheer perfection of this 6-leaf clover. I remembered what the Lord of the Leprechauns had told me, and thinking fast, I yanked it out of the ground and held it aloft, exclaiming loudly, I have a clover with more leaves than the Lord of the Leprechauns himself. I command you to stop. This is getting interesting. What? And then, I can't stop, guys. I can't stop. This story keeps going. And then, as if my proclamation had some sort of magical freezing effect on them, the entire horde instantly stopped in its tracks. Their rainbow became more indistinct. I could see individual leprechauns falling out of their wave-like formation. Stanley's frantic screaming was suddenly matched by the equally frantic screams of the leprechauns. Their now broken rainbow fell entirely to pieces, and they individually turned and began to flee, running away in the opposite direction from whence they swarmed. Then, in the chaos, something even stranger happened. My arm suddenly burned and a rainbow ray of colours sprang from the 6-leaf clover, barely missing Stanley's gold-carrying arm. Had it made contact, I have no doubt I'd be sailing with a crew with one less arm. One of the leprechauns at the rear of the pack was hit by the ray and he burst into tiny multicolored bits of candy. This had to be some kind of extreme reaction to the 6-leaf clover. It was now glowing like a rainbow itself, and I felt a strange itching sensation. A multicolored rash formed around my fingers at the same time. Mental note, wear gloves, Stanford. You've been through this. Regardless, I knew one thing for certain. This clover was worth studying. I quickly enclosed it in an anomaly container to keep it safe for future investigation. Here is Rainbow Warts, which is so colourfully illustrated in this journal. I love that. It turns out the reason that the leprechauns have a lord in their town is because he's the one who decides who to get turned into candy next. And that candy in turn keeps their economy going. How did he do this? Well, he uses a 4-leaf clover to help make his choices. And that giant plant at the center of their little village, a leper candy factory. The whole town revolves around this bizarre and macabre process. I had just eaten a bag of that last week. After learning all of this, I found myself wishing I had never encountered any leprechauns at all. In fact, I immediately threw out all of my leper candy. Who knows what kind of terrible things go into that stuff? World's smallest tyrant. They would change the motto to vomit the rainbow, never eating this saccharine nightmare fuel again. I hope they eat it all and those suckers go extinct. That's a bit dark, Stan. Note, I usually do not condone wishing extinction on any species. Oh god. Oh god, they must have had a really bad time with the leprechauns. This, I guess, is kind of like going into like other topics now. I think that's the end of like the leprechaun story, but we've got so much to go, man. We've got so much to go, and I'm very excited to see what else lies in this book and in this whole ARG. There was one thing I thought to try while I was here, and that is to literally just type in, what is the name of this book again? I guess it's just Captain's Log, right? Yeah. What if I type in Captain's Log? Captain's Log. Is case sensitive going to be an issue? Oh! Oh! It is one. Okay, what does it do? What does it do? We get... Oh, how cool! Oh, that is cool. We get the cover of the Captain's Log. I feel like this is when, you know, we had like the Book of Bill thing, and I'm trying to think of an example. Like book, like paper is book skin or something. There was one that was like skin is book paper or something. I can't remember what it was exactly. But then you got to, when you type that in, you got to download like assets of just the skin paper that they used. It was really creepy, and there were a few things like that where they gave you the actual assets. Another one was Giffany. You got all of the artwork for Giffany, which was incredible. But like this is reminding me of that, which is great. So I really like this. This is probably going to go on the thumbnail as well. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this part of our exploration into the ARG. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see the continuation of this. Make sure you go visit gfcaptainslog.com, because the guys who have made this, once again, I will put the credits on the screen right now. The guys that made this are incredible. I cannot believe still that this is unofficial. It is incredible. Really great work. I would love to do something like this one day. So hit me up as well if you want to do something like this with me. If you want to help me out with this. But no, genuinely amazing. Also 100% human made, no AI used. I know people were actually accusing part of this of being AI. It's human made. It is human made. Go buy them a coffee. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you later. Goodbye.